and welcome back to Universal Law of Law, everyone. You got to keep those high vibes, and that is specifically and especially true for 2021. We're approaching a new day, a new time, a new era, a new year, and I'm so excited. So, today I want to talk about change. Okay. This is tea. I have two different flavors in here. And I also have my candy cane here because it is the very, very end of the year. And we're going to start shifting into a new awareness, us all collectively, subconsciously and consciously. So there are so many things that we can discuss, but I really want to focus on what information is important. I don't want to waste no time. So let's start. Everybody needs to get them a composition book and a pen. If you're into colors, do that. If you're visual, we need to begin changing, or not changing, but being very intentional with the changes that we would like to see for ourselves entering in 2021. And so I want to talk about the Uranus energy and change Aquarius energy as a whole. The beautiful thing about Aquarius is it's like that rebellious child, that everyone tends to black sheep because not because of the poor choices that they make, but their own mind, their unique outlook on life, and their ability to just anger people with their perspective and the actions that they take. That is the energy that we're in now. Even if we're not even trying to be, it's going to be happening us on a large level and on an individual level. So indirectly and directly, okay? Micro level and a macro level as well. So it's going to be all around us, this change energy, this rebellion energy, this desire to change the world, or at least our worlds. And so I encourage everyone entering into this new time to please start writing down. And a lot of people say like scripting, and like offering a petition, and these are all like very just loose terminology to explain just an intent to just create. A lot of people just they put so much into it nowadays. Like a lot of people like to be marveled and dazzled, and I'm a straight shooter. Like, just tell me what I need to do. Don't use all these terminologies, because then you're creating a whole like group and due to the terms, and it's like sorcery. It's like, we're creating our group because we're terminology. Just get you a pencil, pen, preferably, paper. I don't care if it's freaking a receipt. No. You want to be organized, right? That's something that Saturn definitely teaches us. But Saturn is entering into Aquarius, so we know that's going to bring forth a whole new change. Aquarius energy and Uranus energy is all about change. So it's a change. We're going to change up our order, our structure in our life. And there's going to be an expansion placed on the changes that we make for ourselves. And that is solely due to the fact that we have to do it. We have to evolve together. We're in it together. And this is the only reason why I feel so urgently the desire to make this video about change. So the reason why you're going to need your pen and paper is because we need to become more intentional with our reality and what we want for ourselves. A lot of the times we badger ourselves. We hurt ourselves with the way we think, or we're hard on ourselves. We're really, and this is all a very programmed way of thinking. We were programmed to basically hurt ourselves with the way we think about ourselves, the way we think about our challenges, or the way we think about our failures or losses, right? Whatever. Those are very strong words to use to describe an experience that we've had in our life. But I was having this whole inner, reality check. And I realized that everything that happens to us individually on the level that we are, at, I feel like it's happening to us for a purpose. Now, in our early childhood experiences, a lot of the situations that cause us to be who we are today is based on the way we were brought up. So we may have experienced some hardships that were not due to our own choices and actions, because we were, being cared for from our caregivers, our caretakers. But then we reach a certain age where we are, programmed to think that it's time for us to do it on our own, like get out at 18, or some people was even earlier than that. Some people, it wasn't like that, but it was like a big change once they got out of high school, and it's like, okay, now what do I do? Some people had a whole route, like I'm going to go to college, do this, do that, and it doesn't go that way. So life always has an unexpected way of teaching us and showing us and revealing to us the meaning of life and the reasoning in which we're here through the experiences. So I realized that, we reach an age where we have to take accountability, and we have to, become wholehearted creators of our reality. And the way that we do that is by dismantling the old us. We don't need it. We don't need it. A lot of people, they carry their burdens and their baggage with them, and they become people who are jaded. And it really becomes a psychological issue. Their mind breaks up into fragments, and they're stuck in the past, and they just repeat the same experiences because they speak that in their life. And it's like a bottomless pit. And this is the reality for a lot of people that I grew up with. And this is why I am so called to help people understand astrology and understand their role in society, because everyone has a role. Like they say, when people go to jail, they're like, it's a rehabilitation for them to become productive members of society. BS. Let it go. That's a lie. Because actually the jail systems are actually very corrupt, and they do not help people rehabilitate. They actually keep people in an institutionalized programming. They don't find themselves. Some people do find themselves in jail. The strong survives, okay? But I digress. Back to the subject at hand. When it comes into moving into this new chapter of life, we're doing this all collectively. And I don't want to put spookism into the work that I do. The only thing that might spook people out is when I use certain words that trigger some type of belief systems that they have built due to some religion. Or the fact that I talk about the sun, the moon, and the stars and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, it's no spookism. It should be no fear. We're fearless. We are fearless souls, right? Having this experience, this physical experience. And so we are here to learn. We are here to grow. We're here to enjoy life and appreciate life. Honestly, growing up, I was so disconnected from reality due to me having a Pisces rising. So my first house ruler is Neptune. I have a Neptunian personality. And in my early childhood, it was very prominent for me. I was very disconnected from life. I didn't have that connection because I see it now as I wasn't supposed to. Some people are late bloomers. That's what I would consider myself of. My earliest memories were like 7 and 8. Some people can remember back to when they were 2. I mean, I don't. I don't even think I was very aware of anything outside of my own feelings when I was a kid. This made me very imaginary. I do vividly remember seeing spirits, being imaginary, being in my mind, and knowing how I felt at all times. And I was very connected with myself that way, and connected to things outside of me, like bugs, plants. Like, I was a very hands-on creative person. But when I started entering to the game of life, which was having connections with people, communicating, expression, self-expression, once it began, the lessons that began to come, they came at an overwhelming rate. I wasn't eased in. I was just thrown in because I was so closed off for so long, right? And so I say all that to say that I now value life on a level that I never even knew existed. And the way I feel, it feels so good that I feel like other people might want to feel that. And so I'm sharing it for those who want to feel good. I'm here to help people appreciate life if they don't, or find meaning to such a cold world. But it isn't cold. It's what we make it, right? Our life is what we make it, ultimately. They say life is hard, but life is what you make it, with the reality, with the mind, the mental. So Aquarius energy is mind. All is mind. It's the mental, okay? Uranus energy, it is the individual amongst the group. Remember, when we're talking about astrology, we can break it down to understand life. It's such a beautiful way. Like, so when we're moving into this new time, we understand we're moving into strong energies of Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus. Even some Pluto in there. Let's throw some transformation. We have structure, order, time, which is Saturn. We have Jupiter, which is expansion, learning, higher knowledge, exploiting, exposing, revealing. We have Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, rebellion, individualistic energy. We have this new age coming, which is just a time where the awareness and the consciousness of people, the deliberate actions taken to create a life that we desire, is at its beginning, and it's at its new. And when we look in history and time, we see that a lot of people were powerless. A lot of people say that, it's all in what one believes. My information is for someone to either take it as entertainment or to take it as some factual knowledge based on feelings and perception. Basically, information that's relatable, or, it can be just complete entertainment to you. But some people do believe that, right now is a time where the ones on the bottom will be the ones on the top. The ones on the top will be the ones on the bottom. Like, there's a reversed polarity. And I think it's a fascinating topic to, try to understand. But I like to focus on the energies that are on a macro level. Like, micro is my world, my home, my connections. Some people don't have very strong holds and ties to their family, but very strong holds and ties to their jobs. Some people don't have a lot of strong connections to their self-care, but they really put a lot of energy into other people. It's just all in one's perception. That is the micro level. And the macro level is the energies that are outside of us, that are actually influencing us. And that brings me to also, sharing, I do want to discuss parenting in astrology. So I am in the process of creating a universal love law for parents. And the focus will be about astrology, synastry, chart overlays with the child and parent. Because I feel like we're moving in a time where we can actually know what's going to happen before it happened. And not like precisely like this happened at this time, but we know the energies that are happening. Like we understand the influences of these planets and the planetary alignments on humanity. We're becoming aware of that, all of us. We are all in this together. You look at the most intelligent, influential astrologer out there, they're still a student of life. No one is greater than any other. Just like in school, there's grades and levels. That's the same thing in life. We're all on different levels and different grades of awareness. That's it. But guess what? That first grader will be a 12th grader one day. And so it's all in how fast a person is able to perceive the information. It's no race, because once we try to race other people to a level of consciousness, you'll realize that it's a completely there's a complete other way, or there's a complete another lesson that's gonna come out of the blue, like a black hole out of nowhere, like Pandora's box, because you're trying to do it wrong. So let's talk about 2021. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what's to come. We are going to start experiencing changes, major changes. People are awakening. Our government's changing. The structure in which one, depended on as far as ordering one around is changing. There is a change because think about it. Saturn is time, the teacher, the wisdom. Some say karma, but it's the lesson learned, right? The moral of the story and the time, all the experiences that built up to that lesson. It entered into Aquarius. Also, Saturn is the energy of structure, okay? And like government systems, politics. It governs that. And so it's shifted into Aquarius. So this means change. And remember, another thing about Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So it has that Uranus energy, which is instant change out of the blue. So we're dealing with a change in the structure of our government. We're dealing in a change of the structures of our own identities. We are reevaluating ourselves, not by choice. It's in a sense kind of by force. We can't deny that man in the mirror. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Right, Michael Jackson? Yeah, we're looking at the men in the woman in the mirror. We're asking to change these ways because we are aware of some external macro, right, force that is so strongly impacting us. That is delicious. So another thing is too, kind of digressing back to a whole nother comment that I made earlier, like with the parenting astrology. I want to take that on 2021 because it is like when I talk about the micro and the macro, these are terminology that I learned in early childhood development. That's the my major in college. That's what I do. I focus on early childhood education. So And then I have my own personal story, which I will explain on my channel as well, that parenting one, parenting astrology channel. And the purpose and reasoning and all that. That information will be provided on that channel, and it will be coming. When it does, I will let everyone know that is a parent or wants to become or have a parent. Everybody has a parent. Just to understand the dynamics, that information will be readily available. So outside of that, the macro and micro is a very important theme when we're talking about theory in early childhood development, because early childhood development is like a ongoing learning of children's mind and how they develop, the milestones, so that we can appropriately help them grow into stable human beings with understanding, compassion, and empathy. So it deals with the psychological mind of all children on every range, from spectrum disability to that, star pupil. And there's always an underlying something. Some of the people that have handicaps or disabilities are brilliant. Okay? And this is fascinating to people who are, very charismatic or just very, psychological when it comes to understanding the mind and how it works. And people who are fascinated with children. So when I was learning about the micro and macro effects on a child and doing my papers and all that, I was realizing that this is still, that never stops. That effect never stops. Even when we become adults, it never stops. There's always you and then the world outside of you. So now it's about moving into understanding the difference. There's some people that know themselves so very well, but there's a lot of people who are unsure of themselves because they haven't had the right guidance. And I believe that Age of Aquarius is bringing forth an energy that is going to help the world become a better place, because it's a service energy. It's an energy of service. It's an energy of humanity and making people whole again. Okay? It also brings forth the energy of one person in a group. So we're all together. It's a collective thing. It's a collective effort. At the same time, I acknowledge and I am very well aware of my own identity in this group. The I am, the ego. I have my own self. And every Aquarius I've known have always wanted to be, they were always in the group, but wanted to just everybody to know, like, I'm my own self though. Or they say things like, well, this is my opinion. Just throwing that out there. Like, it's the fixed air energy. So it's its own thoughts amongst the group of the collective. So understanding the micro macro energy is so prominent right now, and on a very small scale and on a very intricate, complex scale. And so excuse me, guys. So it's very important for us to take information. It also is the age of information, okay? Wisdom too, not just like information without it being applied like a lot of these people do. Now I have to get on a lot of spiritual people. Look at that one lady who was scamming people for so long. What was her name? Miss Cleo. I got the Miss Cleo vibe going on right now, but I in no way am I a Miss Cleo. Why? Because I don't do this for the camera. My social media, I have to get better with my universal love law on Instagram. Shout out to that. So go check it out. No, I need to get better on that because I'm not really good at impersonating or like, I'm only able to be what's within me. Okay? And like they say, as above, so below. As within, so without. I can only be me. And the reason why I feel like people gravitate and attract to me is because of the genuine energy signature behind my messages. It's coming from a genuine place. It's coming from a place of experience. It's coming from a place of that person who experienced it and now has becoming a guide or someone to facilitate it, helping another one overcome. And so, but yeah, I digress because I always go on a tangent. But yo, that's what I was saying. Yo, these people who are so spiritual. I'm so spiritual. I have crystals and I have incense and I have a spell book. I don't have a spell book. Or I have tarot cards. I have this and blah, blah, blah. Some people are doing it for clout. Some people are doing it with an unknowing of why they're doing it. It's becoming trendy. It's becoming a thing in music and like artists, entertainers. They're trying to present. I'm sorry, I just seen something like a cat run off, but it's just the smoke. But, you know, everything is a sign to me. I mean, like, if I was to share with you guys some of the visions that I had before, let me get on that. Okay, so anyways, back to the people. These spiritual wannabes, but they have no understanding of wisdom, which is knowledge applied. Applied knowledge. It's not just I know what this is about, like that infant Gemini energy. Opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius. That's the wisdom applied. Not to bash any of my Geminis out there, because it starts at the Gemini, right? The thought, the idea, and then it becomes the flame. It becomes the action, the spark. It goes from the thoughts, the mind, into becoming. Okay, so some of the Geminis I know are some of the highest spiritual people. Some of them are highly tapped into the airy, communicative, mental mind, which all exists there. So, not to bash any other, but I'm saying there is an immature state, like the page, or like the beginner Gemini, where they just know it all, but they're not applying the information, right? Not just Geminis, all signs. But that energy is like an innocent, I want to know. Like, you know how kids, like, they all gather around to hear the joke. Like, I want to know the joke. Like, eventually you'll be the one telling the joke. And that's applying. Sorry, my metaphors are sometimes just funny to me, but anyways, back to the subject at hand. So we're talking about the changes that are coming, the intention that we're going to start applying into our life, because we are creators and we are understanding what that means. Some people just speak words and they just say whatever comes to their mind, like we are creators and we are manifestors, but they don't apply it. And so let me give you guys a tool. It's very simple. Let's get into a space where you feel good. You feel good, like good, like whatever that is for you. Some people smoke weed. Some people light candles. Some people take a bath. Some people drink. I'm not encouraging negative behavior or bad behavior, addictive behavior, but everyone does what they do. They do it how they do it. The purpose is invoking emotion. And see, that can get clouded when you're using alcohol. Like when a person is under the influence, it could get clouded. Your emotions that you're trying to invoke and set out like that intention, it could get clouded due to other experiences kind of jumping in that thought bubble. Like, we tend to connect all things when we're drunk or like under the influence. Like, I remember this happened and when that happened, and it just tunnels going everywhere. It's unclear. So that's why it's important to be more sober. But you know, marijuana brings forth clarity to some. And sometimes alcohol. Look at our ancestors. Okay, you look at those high priestesses that shoot out the alcohol out their mouth, and they had the cigar and the cigar and the alcohol, and they're conjuring all that, right? That so much spookism in the world. People need to understand. You're not doing it now. Why are you scared to understand? Why are people afraid of knowledge? Knowledge is wisdom. Knowledge is power. So it's just about awareness. So getting into a space where you're able to be clear-minded, and wherever that is for you. Get your pen and get your pen and paper. Write it out. Your future. What you want. No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter if it's on a receipt, no matter if it's in a book. But remember, Saturn is order. So we're going to keep our things neat and in order. And we're going to set our intentions for real. Like, people make magic so hard. The reason why people are so afraid of, like, the spookism that's placed around spirituality is unbelievable. Because they make it seem like it's only for certain people. Like, it's so hard to get what you want out of life. Like, no. Like, we've been doing this from the beginning of time. We do it subconsciously. We don't even realize it. But when we do it intentionally, it becomes more conscious and it adds weight. We're living in a world of volume, okay? Density. Thoughts become things that it needs to have weight added to where the atoms and molecules can formulate into it becoming physical. Let's get physical. How do we do that? By training our minds to project our visions. And when you are in a space of clarity, what happens is you are more powerful. It's like you're the crystal that's being charged. A lot of people they make it seem so hard. Like, you have to charge your crystal overnight under the... You're powerful in your own being, just with wisdom and knowledge. So all you got to do, find your space, whatever that is for you. It's 2021. Almost. It's 2020. It's going to be 2021. Somebody might be listening to this video in 2024. Okay? And it don't matter. The same rules apply. When it comes to getting what we want and changing our life and being a part of the world, which is just awareness, we got to pick up this pen and paper. We got to start writing. Okay? We could think it all day, but we need to start being intentional and making it tangible. Adding weight. So that goes back to creating the space. Creating the space is just being in your vibe. Whatever that looks like for you. Sometimes when you listen to music with words getting in your vibe, it can cloud your judgment. You want to have clarity. You want to be at one with your own thoughts. And it's something that is so powerful that happens in that space. What happens is we begin to channel energy it exists, and we channel it. It's like we're conjuring up energy. All these words have been so jaded and hexed, like, seriously. But it's the limited language that is the barrier for people to free themselves. But anyways, so yeah, like, when you're just sitting alone in your space and you begin to write, you're charging your being. You're charging yourself. That's what a crystal being is. Just being able to utilize yourself as a conduit, as a powerful source that creates whatever it projects. And the projection is in the perception. Okay? It's all in what you perceive and what you want. And this is where things get very complex, because we have to understand that it's so many laws, but you don't want to get lost in that. When you're in your space, creating your world for yourself, moving forward with all these changes happening, you needing to depend on yourself. You needing to be a part of this change, or they say, what do they mean when people say If you don't become a part of it, you'll get washed away. Or some people miss the shift or whatever. Like, that just means that it's going to take you longer. So it's like, if you're already aware of these things now, why don't you just take action to, doing it now? And why don't you care about life? That goes back to the very first point I was making. For so long, I didn't realize what was happening. Like, what are we really doing here? And what are we really doing here? What am I doing here? Now I know what I'm doing here. I'm here to create. I'm here to experience. I'm here to learn, to apply the knowledge so that I can become wise from the outcomes of my actions. You got to walk it like you talk it. You got to be the person that you see yourself as becoming. Okay? This is all stuff we hear all the time. Even just law of attraction. You fake it till you make it. That's what it's all about. So, I digress. So, I just want to say thank you guys for taking the time out to see this video. Like I said, I really hope that the information that I provide to people is helpful to people. And, I'll be working on that 12th house stellium. So, look forward to that if you have a 12th house stellium. And what else do I want to say? I think that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night or day whenever you watch this. Morning, whatever. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'm signing off. Thank you so much for tuning into Universal Love Law.